Aerion Brightflame is usually remembered as a monster, a mad prince. A cautionary tale whispered at court. But Aerion was not born mad, and he was not acting alone in a vacuum. He was shaped, deliberately, by the beliefs of House Targaryen. By its obsession with blood, fire, and inherited superiority long after the dragons were gone, Aerion did not reject Targaryen identity. He embraced it more completely than almost anyone else of his generation. To understand why he became what he did, we need to look not only at his actions, but at the environment that produced him, who he was raised beside, who he was compared against, and what kind of future he believed was owed to him. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here we delve deep into the rich lore of the Lord of the Rings, a song of ice and fire, and the vast worlds beyond. On this channel, we blend the soothing power of cutting-edge technology with the timeless knowledge of dedicated storytellers. That's us, the voices behind the Codex. Settle in, relax, and enjoy. Aerion was born a prince of House Targaryen at a time when dragons no longer flew, but still ruled the imagination of the realm. From childhood, Aerion was taught that dragon blood mattered, that Targaryens were not merely rulers by law, but by nature. Targaryen exceptionalism was not metaphor, it was doctrine. To see how distorted this upbringing was, compare him to Baelor Breakspear. Baelor was raised to serve the realm. He learned diplomacy, restraint, and responsibility. In the Dunk and Egg stories, Baelor consistently acts as a stabilizing force, measured, thoughtful, and aware of consequence. Aerion learned none of this. Compare him also to Maekar, his father. Maekar was rigid and harsh, but deeply rooted in duty. He believed in discipline and order, even when it made him unpopular. Aerion inherited Maekar's pride, but none of his restraint. From the very beginning, Aerion saw the world not as something to protect, but something that owed him obedience. Aerion's chosen name, Brightflame, is not decorative. He did not treat it as a nickname or boast. He treated it as prophecy. Fire to Aerion was not symbolic, it was transformative. Dragons were not extinct, they were dormant, waiting to be awakened by the right blood. This belief sets him apart from other Targaryens of the era. Most mourn the loss of dragons, some romanticize them. Aerion believes they will return through him. Again, contrast this with Baelor. Baelor carried the same blood, but never claimed destiny. He understood that legitimacy came from conduct, not prophecy. Aerion believed blood alone was enough. This belief will guide every decision he makes. Ashford Meadow is where Aerion's worldview collides with reality. He assaults a puppeteer girl not out of passion but entitlement. She exists in his mind to serve him. When she resists, he threatens mutilation, calmly, casually, without rage. This is not madness, this is certainty. Aerion genuinely believes his status excuses anything. Dunk steps in, not because he understands court politics, but because he understands right and wrong. His intervention is instinctive, not strategic. What shocks Aerion is not resistance, it is defiance. A hedge knight laying hands on a prince is, to Aerion, an unthinkable violation of the natural order. When Aerion demands a trial by 7, he believes tradition will protect him. He assumes no knight would dare stand against royal blood, and certainly not against a Targaryen prince. He is wrong. One by one, knights step forward to stand with Dunk. Not because Dunk is important, but because Aerion is unmistakably in the wrong. This moment matters deeply. For the first time in Aerion's life, blood does not win, honour does. The defeat is not just physical, it is public. Aerion is exposed as someone whose authority exists only so long as others accept it. This humiliation wounds him far more deeply than any blade could. Aerion's exile to Lys is meant as punishment, but in practice it becomes something else entirely. Lys is a city of pleasure, wealth, and indulgence. A place where cruelty can hide behind luxury. For a prince with gold and status, exile there does not feel like loss, it feels like confirmation. In Westeros, Aerion was restrained by eyes that watched him closely. His father, the court, the expectations of dynasty. In Lys, those restraints vanish. He is free to indulge his impulses without consequence. This is a critical distinction. Exile humbles those who are forced to confront hardship. It hardens those who mistake indulgence for validation. Dunk's travels show us the opposite path. Dunk grows because he is exposed to the small folk, to hunger, to injustice, and to responsibility without power. Aerion grows only more isolated inside his own certainty. By the time Aerion returns to Westeros, he is not reflected. He has rehearsed his grievances. The world has not corrected him. It has confirmed his worst instincts. Aerion's belief in dragons evolves from fantasy into doctrine. He convinces himself that dragons were never truly lost, only sleeping. That Valyrian blood contains something dormant, something that fire can awaken. This belief is not random. It draws on half-remembered Targaryen lore, on stories of blood magic, on the long shadow of Valyria. But Aerion strips away caution, context, and doubt. Throughout A Song of Ice and Fire, prophecy is dangerous precisely because it is ambiguous. Characters like Rhaegar or Melisandre misinterpret signs, but they still question themselves. Aerion does not. He treats belief as certainty. He treats desire as destiny. And this is where his tragedy hardens into inevitability. Because once a man believes failure is impossible, he stops recognizing warning signs altogether. When Aerion drinks wildfire, it is not an act of despair, it is an act of faith. In his mind, wildfire is not poison, it is purified fire, a catalyst, the final proof that his blood is different. What follows is not transformation, but annihilation. Wildfire does what fire always does. It consumes flesh, ignores lineage, and leaves nothing behind but pain and ruin. This moment is crucial for House Targaryen. It shatters the illusion that blood alone protects them, that Valyrian heritage is not immunity. The horror of Aerion's death spreads quietly through the court. It is not celebrated. It is not dramatized. It is feared. Because if dragon blood cannot save a prince from himself, then no one is truly safe from belief gone unchecked. Aerion's death ripples outward far beyond his own life. It reshapes succession by removing a dangerous claimant and clearing the path for Egg, a boy whose upbringing could not be more different. Egg has lived among hedge knights and small folk. He understands consequence because he has felt it. Just as importantly, Aerion becomes a reference point inside House Targaryen. When later kings worry about madness, prophecy, or destiny, they remember Aerion. When restraint is debated, his name hangs unspoken in the background. This is especially important when considering Aerys II. While Aerys's paranoia takes a different form, the underlying belief is similar, that blood excuses cruelty and destiny justifies fear. Aerion does not cause later madness, but he normalizes the warning signs. Aerion Brightflame wanted to be a dragon, not symbolically, not poetically, literally. He believed blood excused his actions, fire would crown him, and destiny required no restraint. What destroyed him was not madness in the abstract, but certainty without reflection. In A Song of Ice and Fire, the most dangerous characters are not those who doubt themselves, but those who never do. Aerion's story matters because it shows us what happens when identity becomes entitlement and belief becomes inevitability. He was not a dragon, he was a man who believed too much and questioned nothing. If you are interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.